So what have you guys been up to? I've been on TikTok, obviously, and I've also been watching a lot of resin pour videos. They are so beautiful, so mesmerizing, and people take resin, which is like a soft, clear plastic, and they turn it into all sorts of crafts, like little coasters, like dishes, keychains. So I thought I would give it a try. But mainly I really want to make these petri dish style, and they're called that because they look like cultured bacteria. But they're just made out of alcohol inks, so I bought a set of colors and we can try that. I also want to make some mushroom encased coasters for my friend Bryce because he's a big fan of mushrooms. I was gonna go to the grocery store and buy some, but when I was walking my dogs, I saw just like so much around my apartment. So I picked some and we're going to let them air dry for a couple days so that all the moisture comes out and not while they're encased in the resin. So while those are air drying, we can start with the petri dish first. This one I made yesterday. Okay, this might have actually worked. I was like, I don't know, you have to be pretty precise with resin, so let's just pop this out. Oh wow, okay, look at that. There are like a couple holes back here. I'm not really sure why that is. There's also like this weird film on it. Oh, I think because when I was like blowing out the air bubbles, I like sort of spit into the resin, and that's probably what that is. So don't spit into your resin. It's also like very thin, so maybe next time I'll make it a little bit thicker. But overall, like really pretty and really good first try. So I'm gonna make another one today and I'll walk you through the process of how to make resin coasters. So I like to dunk my resin and hardener into some warm water, and that helps with air bubbles supposedly. And let's pour half, so 25 milliliters of resin, and then 25 milliliters of hardener on top. And you want to be precise with this or else it won't cure properly, apparently. And I'm just gonna stir this until it's uniform and try to get out all the air bubbles. And then let's pour it into the mold, and here's where the real fun begins. I'm going to try a black, yellow, and green combination on this one. And I don't really know what I'm doing. You kind of just add some color and then add some white, add some more color, and then keep doing that. Maybe mix it around, try to blow out all the air bubbles, and then we will let it sit and cure for 24 hours and see what it looks like tomorrow. I started to get into a daily groove where I would demold the one I made yesterday, then think of what to change, whether it was adding more ink, more resin, trying different color combinations, or a new technique, like adding white ink first, or pouring resin in different stages to like spread the ink out. Then with that in mind, I'd make the coaster and then let it sit until the next day where I'd repeat the whole cycle. So I'll show you the ones I made, but first, mushroom time. They finally dried and are looking like an 80-year-old shriveled versions of themselves. We're going to pour some resin first, then position the mushrooms, and then add more resin on top. So I'm gonna be honest, this mushroom idea, super annoying. Look at my 4 children, all failures. The first time you can see I'm trying to add the resin and they're just flown away into the abyss. No, not really. Not only that, but they also floated to the top. So they stuck out, making the bottom of the coaster just disgusting. It feels disgusting. And then on top of that, I went crazy with the ink. Like I put in way too much. Yeah, that mushroom, you can't even see. From far away, it looks good. But up close, you're like, why are there mushrooms in it? My second attempt, I did not want the mushrooms to float to the top. So I let the first half of the resin harden for 3 hours. And then I mixed more resin to pour over top. And that definitely worked. But now it's like a multi-hour process with like a long wait time in the middle. So just annoying. Oh no. There's 2 massive holes. That's so annoying. And this was my best attempt. These other two, I just couldn't get the ink to look quite like the green one. This one I messed up so badly it didn't even cure right. This is what happens, it stays really gummy. What I should have done is just remove the uncertainty of ink from the very start, and I would have ended up with something like this. I also made this black and white ink one without mushrooms, and I think they pair very nicely together. Also, if you stack them, it kind of looks like what I had hoped the mushrooms would have looked like. So it's been a month, and $40 worth of resin later, I've made way more coasters than one person needs. And I was going to rank them for you, but I'm curious to see what your favorites are. So I had my friends rank them. At bottom last, we have this guy, which is also Miley's favorite. I was trying to do rings of color, but they all kind of sat on top of each other and turned into this like gross brown. It's like a brown mess getting flushed down the toilet. A close second is very appropriately the first one I ever made. It's very thin, flimsy, has a lot of micro bubbles, and the three colors don't really look that good together. But I do like this blue, like ocean wave. At third, we have this really orange one, which if you don't like orange, like this is not one for you. What I was trying to do was make an orange slice, put orange ink all around the sides, and then drip resin into the center so that it would like spread out the ink, but I added way too much ink, so now it's just very orange. This is 1 out of 2 that doesn't have a level surface. It's got like a hump to it, and I think it's because I added too much ink, or I didn't like weigh the center part down when it came out of the mold. So it's kind of unusable, which is unfortunate because it's very like orange and yellow. Next up, we have this one, which is actually my second favorite. A lot of people didn't like the clear aspect and they preferred coasters with a lot of color. I'm actually the opposite. I think the clear aspect is nice, and this is one I will be using on my desk. And next up is my actual favorite. It just reminds me of a forest floor, and again, it has that bit of transparency that I like. This is the second one that has so much ink that it's not very flat, but it is very pretty and has a lot going on. The only thing I don't like is these gold dots. I wish they would have spread out a little bit more. So we are in our top 3, and it was very neck and neck. In third place, we have this rainbow one. It's fun, it's colorful, and this one I used the technique where I poured resin into the center and then it like spread out. If I were to make a second one, I would definitely want the center to actually be in the center. On the exact opposite, we have this all black inky one, which Kate has already claimed because he likes it so much. The alcohol ink is very cool looking in it. And finally, the top number 1. The one that was in everyone's top 3 is this one. This black part is actually what inspired me to make the other black one. I'm not actually that big of a fan of this one. It's just not very my style, from this like black and this white stripe to the blue. But it is very interesting that people like this one so much. So those are all 10. In general, I feel like using alcohol inks in resin is a very exciting activity. You never know what you're gonna get when you demold it. It's always a surprise. In that way, I kind of wish I had more control over the ink. I honestly can say that none of the coasters look how I hoped they would look, but that's kind of the beauty of it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my little rabbit hole into resin. Bye!